All right, welcome back to another week of Tricks Fix. This week we're going over rehab. So I've had quite a few injuries through my 6-year tricking career. I've had the worst one, which is my broken ankle, which just happened recently. I had to have surgery to get that fixed. I've sprained my wrist quite a few times, and I did need surgery on my right wrist to get that one fixed. And then I have had a partially torn MCL. Luckily, didn't need surgery for that, and then a bunch of small ones that you forget about, but come back to haunt you every now and then. So I'm gonna go over how to prevent them and how to heal from them. And the main things we're gonna start with are the legs, so hips, knees, and ankles. And then we're gonna go into lower back and abs because I feel like people don't do anything for those, even though they're the achiest parts of the body after a tricking session. And then wrists and shoulders, which people neglect because tricking is a very lower body based sport. So people just don't really focus on their upper body as much because it doesn't initially impact you in the session. You can warm up without your upper body being a bother. You can trick without it being a bother, and you can work around it. But we shouldn't be working around it. We should be fixing it so that we can do exactly what we want to do and express ourselves the way we want to, without our bodies holding us back. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get started. All right, so the number one thing that allows healing, the worst thing, nobody wants to do it, time and rest. So as a tricker, I'm sure you feel the same way. Resting and waiting is the worst. If I could do 1,000 squats to heal my knee, I would do it in an instant. If I could do 10,000 squats to heal my knees, I would do it in an instant. But that's the opposite. You have to do nothing sometimes to make it go away. But yeah, that's the number one point. Number 2 point for healing is stretching. If you have an injury, that point gets stiff and it bugs you because you're putting it in odd positions. Tricking, it puts your body in a stretch in a way that no other sport really does. So don't necessarily look at other sports for the stretches that you need to be doing. If it hurts in a certain stretch, you probably should be doing that stretch. You shouldn't avoid it. So don't avoid stretches that bother you. And the next thing is going to be strengthening those areas. So I'm going to go through a couple of stretches and a couple of strengthening points that you can do that are going to help those specific areas, the ankles, knees, and hips. And then we're going to do the same thing for the lower back, abs, and wrists and shoulders. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. The best stretch for ankles has to be here. I don't know if you can see this. Has to be this one. So I put my foot up against the wall and I put my knee as close to the wall as I can. This is my bad ankle, so this is pretty much a stretch. But on the good side, let's see here. There we go. It's pretty good. Go even further. Some people have ridiculous angles. They can get their foot all the way back here, but the points you want to feel it, you should feel a pinch right up here. That's fine. You will slowly be able to get further and further. You should also feel a stretch back here. In this ankle, I feel it here, but in this ankle, I feel it here. This is where I had the surgery done, so I'm just breaking through scar tissue, getting closer and closer. Yeah, and this is my swing foot. That is key. Having ankle flexibility for swings. If you have to land here, then your point of takeoff is gonna be ridiculously small. You're gonna have to hit this point to be able to get the lift that you need instead of being able to hit any of these points. If you hit here, then you'll be able to extend through and find that spot you want to take off on. Yeah, so ankle flexibility is key. Constantly slamming on your ankles, constantly jumping off your ankles. And then exercises is going to be calf raises. Calf raises are so good, and especially in tricking, we want pointed toes and everything like that. If you can't get this pointed toe that you want, then you should work into it. Anybody can get the flexibility. You see like ballerinas and dancers and stuff, they can touch their toes to their heel. It's just a matter of consistency with the stretching. I stretch pretty much every day. Sometimes I take a break if I'm sore, or maybe I do dynamic stretches instead of my like normal 30-minute stretching routine. And when doing calf raises, not just the basic calf raise, this one actually focuses on the tops of these two calf heads, and then if you do bent knees and do calf raises, that actually focuses on this lower one. So whichever one you think you need to do, or go ahead and do both. Yeah, so that's for the ankles. And then ankle stretching, I just say do really good ankle rolls. Ankle rolling, really good, along with the wall one. My knees have never really bugged me that much in tricking, because I've done a lot of really great prehab. So that's what I'm going to go over, because that's what I know about. So one thing that a lot of trickers don't do is run. And I think running is the best thing that I've started doing for tricking. I have not always done it, but it was for my ankle that I started running, but I just got addicted to it, and I'm running 5Ks pretty consistently almost every day. And I mean, you don't need to do that, but once you do it, it's like, it feels like nothing. It's so easy. So why wouldn't you just do it every day? And if you can do that, you can trick so much longer. We have 2-hour sessions at our gym, so there are people who will go, they'll trick for an hour. The rest of the time they're just stretching, they're just goofing around because they're out of juice. They can't keep going. But you know, me and my buddies, we're just going the whole 2 hours because, you know, we've got the endurance. Me and my brother, we're always running and getting our endurance up, and it makes, and you know, like lower body is the main tool in tricking. So you know, why wouldn't you strengthen that up and get that consistency muscle instead of just pure strength explosive muscle? Yeah, and it's really good for your joints. It gets them nice and loose. It's a really great warm-up when you're getting ready to trick as well. So that makes my knees really strong. Another thing is stretching around the knees. So the main points that you want to stretch are the quad and the hamstring. Tight hamstrings are the cause of a lot of knee pain, as well as lower back pain. We'll get into that in a little bit. So for the hamstrings, best stretch, it's obviously, so standing. I guess you can do it sitting, but basically this one, where you're pulling here, you can do it in a lunge and pull that back one if that's the other version's not as much of a stretch for you. For the hamstrings, I always start with toe touches, palm on the floor. But then you get into some more serious ones, which are this one, touching your nose to your knee, or finding a point that you can grab. Grabbing is really important, because if you don't hang on to something, if you just focus on like getting closer, then you tend to you get closer and then you pull back. But if you hold and you hang on, then you're forcing yourself to hold a deeper stretch for longer. One stretch that I neglected for a long time is this one. So doing this is really good for your lower back and like the upper butt area, as well as the hip on this side, and really good to focus on the hamstring on this side. I didn't do this one for a long time, thinking that the 2-leg straddle is just better, but it's actually very, very different. So I recommend doing this one as well as the 2-leg one. This one is probably the number one stretch in tricking, though. If you don't do this one, you need to start doing this one. You get the hip stretch for center splits, as well as hamstring stretch, and you want to be able to go all the way down, touching your elbows, whatever. If you get comfortable sitting in a straddle, it's just really good for all your tricks. Like, you hit this position probably a ton in tricking, or at least variations of it. So you should be comfortable in this position. I'm going to go over the strength training for the knee area. So the number one thing that you can do to strengthen your knees and those areas that we talked about, the quads and the hamstrings, going to be leg press. I do like deadlift and squat, but those are really, really hard on my body, so I can't really do them and then trick the next day. So I treat my workouts like a warm-up to my next session. So when I do the leg press, I will do double leg press as well as single leg press. And that can be, if you don't have access to a leg press machine, you can do squats, single leg squats, double leg squats. Just get your hands on some weights. But for the leg press, what I do is I will hit my 15 rep max first with double legs. Then I will do my 5 rep max double leg, and then I'll go back to my 15, and I'll just keep going back and forth until I hit, until I can't do it anymore. Or I will do 5 sets if I have a training session the next day. And then obviously those are double leg. I go back after the double leg and I do my single leg after that. So I hit 5 sets for each leg. So 10 sets total when you're doing single leg. That's really good. That hits butt, hamstring, and quad. The deeper you go, so the closer your knee is to your chest when you're pushing off, the more it targets the hamstring and the butt. And then the farther away, once you contract here, that's hitting your quad. So if you want to increase by doing 15 to 5 rep maxes, you are putting a higher load on your body. So it's teaching it how much it can hold. So when you go back to the lower weight, you're going to be able to hit it with ease. And then the more reps you do, the more you will be able to tear that muscle and grow it. So that's going to be the way to strengthen it. And then make sure that you're playing with higher weights. So say you're able to 15 rep 300 on the leg press, and you do that, and then you're like, oh, that's kind of easy, then up it. Just see if maybe, because if your 5 rep max is like 500, then maybe your 3 rep or your 15 rep max is going to be 400. So just, it's not dangerous to try the higher weight, because what's going to happen, you're just going to do less of them, so it's not a big deal. All right, I'm not going to go too in depth for lower back and abs. Just quick stretches for those. Going to be this one, really good for the abs. And then the lower back is this one. It's not really focusing on the hamstrings here, because it's not about how far you can reach. It's about how much you can collapse to your legs. So you want to touch your face close to your legs, so you can feel it in your low back. I just had a session yesterday, so I can definitely feel it. So it's about this. Lowering your head too. You can feel it all the way down your spine. You can feel that stretch. Don't push it too, because stretching isn't about tearing the muscle and letting it regrow longer. It's actually a myth. Stretching is actually your nervous system allowing your body to stretch your muscles out to a certain length. Everybody's muscles, unless, maybe they're injured or whatever, your muscles can already expand to the length of anybody, And so, for example, if you can't do the splits, you actually can. You actually can do the splits. The reason you're not able to sit in the splits is because your body's never done it before. Your nervous system, your central nervous system is tightening the muscles to stop your body from going any further. But your body is completely capable of doing it. You just have to teach your body that it can. So you just have to push past those points a little bit at a time to show that your body that it's a safe position to be in. So that's what it's all about. So the way I think of it is, since my lower back is super sore, and I need to basically, I have all this fresh muscle in there, and it doesn't know, that I can do this, but the muscle around it knows that. So I'm gonna just pull it, stretch it out, and teach it that, it can make that same length that the rest of the muscle can too. I find that dynamic stretches are way better. So if I am doing this stretch, I'm not just holding it in one position. You do want to hang on, like I said before, probably for 10-15 seconds, but then I start to rock into it. And I've heard a lot of things, like people say that that's actually really bad. Someone actually saw me at the gym doing that, and they came up and talked to me because they thought that I was going to hurt myself. But as a tricker, I mean, you're hitting basically the splits dynamically by tricking. So if you can't rock in a stretch, then maybe you shouldn't be tricking. So yeah, I don't find a problem with that whatsoever. Another really good thing for your low back, posture. If you are slouching all day long, it's going to be hard to posture up when you're tricking. It should be easy to have good posture. And then one more thing for the abs, don't forget about your obliques. And then, yeah, exercise your abs. Sit-ups, if you do sit-ups properly, you probably shouldn't be able to get more than 20. So really focus on hitting a sit-up correctly. Feel the pull when you're sitting up. Another good thing, I don't know, maybe you don't know this one, is V-ups. So you're here, and you touch your toes. Really good. Hits all of your abs. Low abs all the way to the top. And then squirmies too, if you don't do these. So I'm just touching my heel. Opposite hand to opposite heel. Really good for the obliques. And then if you posture up in there too, then it hits farther and farther back. I think that's everything. If you have any questions that you didn't get answered, go ahead and comment, and I'll answer them for you. Wrists and shoulders. All I'm going to say about these, make sure you exercise them. If you hold weights and have on a bench and you let your wrist hang over the bench, you can pull weights up this way and pull weights up this way. And just keep constant motion in your wrist. Make sure that it has full flexibility. Stretch it before tricking sessions. Just make sure it's warmed up so you don't injure them. Do circles with your shoulders. Have a partner, maybe pull your shoulders back and get a good stretch this way. Do this one. I do this one all the time. I don't take time out of my day to do the shoulder and wrist exercises as like a separate compartment of my training. I just do it throughout the day to keep them loose, and it's just a habit now. It's just, I just can feel it getting tight, and yeah, you just take care of it. One more thing I wanted to touch on was your training schedule. If you trick every single day and you don't take time to work out, you are just creating imbalances in your body, and you're just going to cause some injuries. You're definitely gonna maybe your left leg's gonna be strong from swings, maybe your right hip flexor is gonna be too strong from kicks, and you don't do it on your other side. You should be tricking balanced as well as working out to fix the imbalances. My training schedule is I trick really hard on Mondays and Fridays, and then Wednesday is my hard workout day, and every day in between is a rehab or like warm-up workout day, like I said before. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Occasionally, yeah, you can trick every day, but then you need to take that extra time to rehab so that you don't get injured. I do have access to a hot tub, so that's really good. Heating up your body is a really great way. Any time you can increase your circulation and your heart rate while being still is a really good way to accelerate healing. And the final thing when taking care of your body is eat properly and make sure you drink enough water. I'm not going to go over what I eat and whatever. Everybody's different. Everyone needs different things, but there's plenty of ways you can figure out what you need to eat. So just make sure you're doing that and drink enough water. I am 155 pounds, and according to the internet, I am supposed to be drinking 1.5 gallons of water a day. So I got this nifty thing here to make sure that I'm drinking enough water a day. I aim for 1 gallon, but I occasionally do go over 1 gallon because I'm a thirsty guy. So yeah, just make sure you're doing that. It's your body's like 80% water or whatever, so you kind of need water. Again, comment if you have questions. Make sure that you subscribe and like this video. Turn on post notifications so that you don't miss any content. Thanks, guys.